I frequently talk about the importance of holistic nutrition and incorporating holistic practices into your lifestyle. So you may be wondering, what does that really mean? And I thought that the best way to address that would be to bring in somebody that could talk very well about this topic and help us learn more, dive a little bit deeper. So I am delighted to bring Nicole Hodson here. She is a colleague, and she also, I'll tell you about her in just a minute. She also is the executive director of my certifying organization, the National Association of Nutrition Professionals. And I feel very fortunate to count her as a friend. So let's dive in, learn a little bit about her, and then we're just going to talk about this very, very important topic. So Nicole Hodson is a graduate of Bowman College, yay Bowman, and the executive director of the NANP. After significantly improving her and her husband's health through whole food nutrition, Nicole left the managed healthcare industry to pursue a career where she could affect more positive change. She has been with the NANP since 2007. Her passion for the industry is infectious, and she has made it her life's mission to promote whole foods nutrition and those who teach it in every way possible. Nicole is wholly dedicated to putting holistic nutrition professionals to work and protecting their right to practice. When she's not working, you'll find Nicole in the kitchen, a dedicated foodie. She's continuously honing her cooking skills. She loves living in Northern California's gold and wine country with the love of her life and their adorable toy poodle, Louie. Nicole, thank you so much for being here.
Mira, thank you so much for having me. I'm just so excited. First of all, I'm excited to see you because, yes, you're my friend. But also I'm excited to talk about my favorite topic of all. So.
Yeah. And, I think one of the things that's so challenging for people is this concept of looking at the fact that we are more than just the food we eat. There is this whole person, holistic aspect to it. And so can you give us the top level overview, if you will, of what really is holistic nutrition?
Well, you've touched on it, right? So we are a whole person. We are not just bits and pieces and parts, and we're individual. Each of us is individual. And so at the sort of framework of the nutrition part of holistic nutrition is the concept of biochemical individuality. You're different, I'm different. What's right for you may not be right for me. So we don't really apply a one size fits all approach. There isn't here's what should be on your plate. We don't do that because what should be on Mira's plate is different than what should be on Nicole's plate, is different from what should be on my sister's plate, etc. So there's the biochemical individuality, which is really, really important to understand. And then there's the whole person. How does your mood affect when you're eating? How's that helping your digestion? How is that hurting your digestion? How is your spirituality affecting your lifestyle and your life, and how that manifests throughout your body? And so it really is the intersection of the mind, body, spirit, where we pull it all together and say, okay, I have this individual in front of me. This person is biochemically individual. This person is spiritually individual. And this person, I want to help connect all of those parts to bring it together in the most cohesive way and prepare a plan that will bring about optimal health for this person.
And, one of the things that I really love about the concept of holistic nutrition as well, that you don't often see in other places, is how we also look at life cycle. And we recognize that the diet and the body needs can change over our life cycle. And that's a really important piece that I think a lot of people tend to forget.
Absolutely. It's so important. It's important to look at the life cycle, and it's also important to look at the level of activity.
Mhm.
right? So, endurance athletes needs versus someone who, maybe doesn't exercise that often have very, very different needs. And the life cycle is so important. We all experience it as we age. Sometimes there's a little denial. No, that doesn't apply to me. I'm not there yet. But we have to be cognizant of the fact that our bodies change over time. And if we're not paying attention to that, we may not be helping ourselves live our best lives.
And so one of the things that I also really want you to talk about, because I think this is really important, we as members of the NANP, as holistic nutrition professionals, are not people who are making this up. Like, we have an amazing conference, we have a certification process. Like, there is more to our profession than reading a couple of books and then diving out into what we do. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So you mentioned the NANP. Our job really is to ensure that the people that we certify and the people who are professional members are carefully vetted in terms of their education. So we have educational standards that have to be met. And a lot of that has to do with the science of nutrition. So it's really important for people to understand, for your clients to understand, for people who are going to seek your help, that what you do is based on science. And as you know, Mira, every day now we're getting new studies that are coming out that are informing how we can help people even better, how we can help people even more. So it's a very exciting time to be in the industry. And I think that what people don't recognize is how stringent our requirements are. We offer a board certification, and it is not easy. By design, it shouldn't be. And so it's really important that people go through the process of getting that education so that they can help people thrive. That's what it's about.
And I think, it's kind of interesting because I know, for example, our annual conference, we cover such a broad array of things. And I always learn the most fascinating stuff when I'm there. And one of the things that really brings home is that it's really holistic nutrition, and the work that we do applies to a broad range of health conditions. There are a lot of things that can be impacted in how we choose to live our lives, move our body, implement other aspects of holistic wellness, as well as changing the diet. Can you talk about how vast and diverse that is, I guess? Like, I know over the years, we've just had incredible education and speakers that we look at, and I would really love to sort of bring to awareness for the people who are watching this, just how many different things are impacted by the way we apply holistic nutrition to wellness, to well care, as well as to recovering from dis-ease and struggling with chronic health conditions.
Absolutely. I'm always reminded of that song about the knee bone being connected to the shin bone, right? Because it's about interconnectedness, and that's really what holistic nutrition is about, is the interconnectedness of the being, the physiological, the metaphysical, if you will, and kind of pulling it all together. And so what you don't think about very often are the connections to your hormones, are the connections to your heart. We tend to think of nutrition as weight loss, and it's so much more than weight loss. It's about true health. It's about what's happening at the cellular level, what's happening throughout the body, what's happening to your brain. How are your hormones affecting what's happening in your brain, your cognitive function? We talk about the life cycle. That's going to be a really big topic of our upcoming conference this year. We're actually kind of bookmarking the conference with 2 talks about hormones. And the first one is really going to have to do with how do your hormones affect your cognitive function? And what can you do from a dietary perspective and a lifestyle perspective to ensure that your hormones are operating optimally so that you don't lose cognitive function as you age? Who wants to do that?
Right.
So the interconnectedness, the looking at dis-ease and bringing about optimal health, it's about looking at the entire person and how can we affect positive change. What's interesting about what we do, Mira, and I know you see this over and over and over again in your clients, is when someone presents with a specific health issue, let's say blood sugar regulation, for example, right? And you start to see that they're making the changes that you recommend, you often see this sort of cascade where, right? So now we've got blood sugar under control, but oh, and I lost 15 pounds. Wonderful. Oh, and my blood pressure is normalizing. Oh, and
I'm sleeping better.
I'm sleeping better, or I feel like a fog has been lifted from my brain. I'm thinking better. My relationships are happier. I rediscovered that I enjoy going to temple or church or, wherever, that you kind of liven the person back up again by addressing what needs to be addressed from a sort of cellular on out perspective, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
And I find in my practice, when you help people really learn to connect on that deeper level with not only how they're nourishing themselves, but to tap into how they're feeling and what's going on, it becomes its own reward. It becomes one of the things that helps motivate them down that path to keep going, because the work that we do, this is not a one and done. This is not just, oh, eat this way for a little bit, and then you can go back to eating junky food and sitting on the sofa. Like, this is about building a healthy lifestyle so that you can have the life that you want to be living and address, whatever's going on, whatever's of concern to you.
Absolutely. What do I want to experience as I'm aging? How do I want to feel in 5 years? How do I want to feel in 10 years? And you're not going to get there by, as you said, a one and done and then going back to what you were doing before. I had a client once who came, she was very list oriented, and she came to me with a list of issues that she was having, and it was a pretty lengthy list. And she said, in 6 weeks, I'm going to come back with my list. She was coming to see me every week. I'm going to come back with my list. So she came back with her list after 6 weeks, and lo and behold, the list had actually grown, right? And so what she had done was she had originally come to me with issues that she was having, and then on the other side of her list were all of the positive experiences that she was having.
That's lovely.
And it was so, for me as a practitioner, it was kind of career changing because I had never had anyone put it into context in the way that she did. So what we did is we went over first her negatives, the issues she was having, and she said, check, check. And we were checking off what she wasn't experiencing anymore. And then we went to the positives and we checked off what she was experiencing. And that list was so much longer than her original list of issues. It was amazing. So that's really, I think what we're hoping to do is we start with what are the issues, but then we see all these positive changes that come about too.
And I know for me as a practitioner, when I'm working with people, one of the things that seems to make a big impression on a lot of them is we focus on food culture. Like you said, there's no one size fits all. It's not, oh, eat these foods. If someone comes to me and says, I eat these foods, it's like, okay, well, then we're going to make sure that we're finding the best possible options for those. And we're going to make sure that it agrees with you and that you can continue to eat that way. But my goal is not to tell you you have to eat something you don't like. If you don't like sardines, I'm certainly not going to force you to do it. If you've never eaten one, I'm going to ask you to try it. But, I think for a lot of people, the biggest aha moment is when they sit down with me after we've done their intake and I've got their report for them. And they're like, you're going to take away everything. Like, what am I going to eat? I'm like, oh no, I'm here to tell you all these foods you can eat. Like I think the subtext, this just occurred to me, Nicole. Oh my gosh. I think the subtext for holistic nutrition should be bringing the joy back to your food.
Yes. Yes. I couldn't agree with you more, Mira. I grew up in the Middle East, and I grew up eating a lot of rice. Rice is at the foundation of just about every meal, right? Rice and actually bread, to be frank. And I remember thinking at one point that I needed to cut those foods out of my diet. And I will tell you, it was the most joyless, difficult time of my life, because those foods are tied to memories also. Right. And we don't ever want to take, so this is where the spiritual connection, this is where the mind, body, spirit, connects, is we don't want to take away something that brings joy, right? As much as we can prevent having to do that, we don't want to do that. And so when I finally said, this isn't working for me, I'm not going to fight with my food anymore, I'm going to figure this out, I found great joy again. And it was that first meal, boy, was that wonderful.
Yeah. And that, I think that's fabulous. Like I said, it's about food culture. It's about whole foods, real foods, and then supporting that whole mind, body, spirit. So that's just such a wonderful thing. And I love that we have an organization that helps support practitioners like me as we do this work that we do. So thank you for that. So
life's joy.
yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to mention, first of all, thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for the work that you do for the conference. I did want to briefly mention that our annual conference is called HEALCon, not NANPCon, and that we do have a broad range. Like you said, this year we have 2 amazing keynote speakers. I know last year we had 2 phenomenal keynote speakers. And, it just, this is such a great way for people to be able to connect and learn more and grow and develop. So the one question that I have for the consumers that are watching is, how do they find a holistic nutrition professional?
Yeah, what a great question. Go to nanp.org, and you'll find a practitioner. Go to our main menu, find a practitioner. And, if you're looking for someone who specializes in digestive issues, type in digestion. If you're looking for just, weight loss, you want to lose a few pounds, put that in. Or if you're just looking for someone in your local area, you can search all kinds of different ways. And, if you don't find someone in your area, give us a call, send us an email, and we'll help you find somebody in your area.
That's really great. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for being on and for sharing your wisdom, your thought, and that fabulous story about that client. That's just really such a wonderful thing. And for everyone who's watching, I will make sure to put the links down below so that you can connect with the NANP, learn more about HEALCon, and I hope that you will embrace the concept and the implementation of holistic nutrition for your best, healthiest life. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mira.
Thanks for being here, Nicole. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.